Right.
Right. This is exciting. So welcome back to another episode of Accountants Are Sexy, Change My Mind. I'm giving a little test today. We're live on LinkedIn. Not we're live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube. So if you are or can join us and you're watching this live, please say hello. It'd be really lovely to get some questions from you or interaction just to test that it all works effectively. So today, I've got Marie Speakman with me, who is a specialist in automation for accountants. And there's some really interesting conversations around automation, really interesting conversations. And I have them all the time in marketing, but automation and AI touches so much more. And Marie is here to help explain. So first of all, welcome to the podcast, Marie.
Thank you. Nice to be
here. Do you want to give a better explanation than I can about who you are and how you support accountants?
Yeah, so I started off in industry. I worked my way up to management accountant and had a great job, European accountant for a software company, which I loved, but I always wanted to set up my own business. So I went on and set up my own practice, which was a massive learning curve. During that time, it grew very quickly. I was kind of networking, but it grew very quickly, and I wasn't kind of keeping up. I was trying to use as much automation as possible at that time in like 2009. There wasn't, what's around now. It would have helped me tremendously. And the tech that's around now had been around then. So I sold, and since then I've been working as a consultant. And now I was approached a couple of years ago, and by my ex-boss actually in the software company, and he said, "I've got something that I think you'd be really interested in," and it was all around AI. So I've been on this AI journey for the last 2 years, and now I'm working. I work with companies, partner with them. And I really, because of my background, I thought, I know where I can take this. I can really help accountants because I know the pain. I've been through that pain myself, and I know where it can be best applied.
So what pain, what are we talking about here?
With me, I think the biggest pain I suffered was around support. So you get your clients, you want to be a lot of them small businesses. There's a lot of questions that they want answering, and a lot of the time they want answering there and then 24/7, and that wasn't available. The only thing that was available was me. So I was forever catching up. And obviously, you've got staff, but your staff are always have not got the broad knowledge that you have yourself of kind of running a business as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think there's a lot of misunderstanding around automation and AI. So how would you kind of describe them for people that have no experience of this?
I mean, with AI, we've got lots of software. When you look at the software that's available to accountants now, it's mind blowing, and choosing software. But there is gaps between what the software offers and what AI can actually. So I see it as just joining the gaps between what we've got within the software and what we can actually offer to clients, to employees within your practice.
Yeah. We're connected on LinkedIn, which is how I've come to see your content. And I think I said a comment like, I have to have you on. Like, I have to talk to you about automation because it's such a hot topic and it can do so much good, but there are a lot of nerves around it. So there was a post, and I think you said something, it might have been yesterday, you said about accountants are playing it safe. And I wondered if you could just develop on that for me.
Yeah, because I was at a conference in Leeds. I went over to Leeds a few weeks ago, and there there was about 40 accountants in the room. You had to be to be in that room, and it was all around automation and AI. And what I found was there's just a vagueness around it of what it actually is, what it can actually do. And there was a lot of interest because I was talking AI, and I've seen it work. So I was quite surprised at the lack of, but I think I got the impression that it's one of them, because sometimes it's like, God, I don't want to be the only one who doesn't know about this. And I think there is this mystery surrounding it, but if you've got a mundane, repetitive task that you're having to do manually, or it's coming up all the time, that can be automated. As simple as that.
Okay. Could you, for the layman over here who doesn't speak accounting, what kind of tasks could an accountant put on or automate that's going to save them a ton of time? What kind of things would you go for?
Well, with the big thing with AI and machine learning is you would have your standard set of questions that you're being asked all the time. What is my tax? When's my VAT due? You've got lots of questions that you're asked, repeatedly by clients. With AI, you can have your very own, each client can have their own digital assistant. Mm-hmm. And each employee can have their own digital assistant. So the repetitive questions that are being asked, it kind of bypasses you, and the bot will say, oh, I know that. And they're answered, and it is as simple as that. So anything that's repetitive. And then the great thing about, we'll have all seen chatbots, and we get to a point and it goes, all right, I can't help you any further, go away. And you think that was a waste of time. But with AI and machine learning, it'll say, oh, that's something new that I've not had before. It actually learns that. So it's conversational AI. So it's building all the time. So it's forever getting better and better. So it's a continual learning. And that's what the difference is, really.
Where does it get its information from? Surely, for me, obviously, there's a database somewhere, that has to be, or multiple databases of information. But what does that mean to the accountant? So where is this information that it's retrieving?
Well, in whatever software you're using, so that the information's in your CRM or in Xero. Your tax package, so it goes into those different softwares and retrieves that information from whichever software you're using at the time.
Now, coming from a sales background, I have a particular fondness for a tidy database, because it means that I can retrieve information quickly and efficiently when I need it. But not everyone has this point of view, and CRM systems sometimes get used differently depending on the user, because they'll put in their own shortcuts. Is that a problem?
It would always be that we would look at the data that's in there, and with anything, a tidy up is always useful. Yes. Anyway. So I would always encourage, a tidy up before, because you put rubbish in, you're going to get rubbish out. But I would always say let's clean up the data.
Yeah. It's a frustration of mine. It always has been, and I think it always will be. As I say, that people use systems in different ways, and they think they're being really clever, but actually they're just, in my opinion, humble opinion, just ruining it for everybody.
Yeah, it's just that they're not used to what they meant. We see that a lot of time. It's just like a name. How many times have we seen a database? It's not even got an address or a contact. You think there's a name in there, or something. So we can only get good out if we cut good stuff in. But it is good at kind of sifting through and finding out. You could find out what is missing, but a lot of CRMs will give you that information anyway.
Yeah. So we've touched on the support that AI can give clients, and we've touched on how you can take away the manual tasks and all of like the inquiries that come up repetitively. But this sometimes feels that it's taken away jobs that people like to do, maybe. So they like to have that conversation with their clients, or they're easier tasks that sometimes they and I say the collective they that I'm using is the bank of staff. So do you get much resistance when you implement systems like this from the staff?
I think where there's change, you know, I've worked in companies, and anytime we bring any kind of something new into the company, there'll always be resistance. And yeah, because there is a lot of scaremongering around, people losing jobs, but I really see it more as upskilling. Because like you're saying, you know, people like to do that, do they? You know, or is it just a necessity? Is it something that we've got to do? So what I really love about it is, you know, we have got a lot of accountants, we've got a lot of, you know, really good bookkeepers, but they do spend a lot of their day on manual repetitive tasks, where an admin tasks which don't really add any value. But if you can, you know, I think it's a real good chance for people to upskill, because even, you know, your accountants in practice, they may not get the chance to do some of the, you know, the more kind of gritty stuff that they've done all this, you know, training and studying for. They can end up, you know, just pulling a set of accounts together, but not getting to behind those accounts, what's behind it. Let's really look, let's see, you know, because, you know, the thing is in the data. If we can sort that data or get the bots to sort the data for us, then we can really kind of get down to what the numbers, you know, there's a lot of hidden stuff in the numbers that we create.
Yeah. And are there any other kind of challenges when you start to implement this into companies? What kind of objections do you come up against? I mean, let's admit that accountants are trained to be risk averse. They are trained to spot things that could potentially go wrong. So do you get many objections, or what kind of objections do you get?
I think it's really important, because I think to work with the right company when you're actually implementing, because I worked in a software company. That was my last position, and techs are just like, oh, get it in. You know, I was asked to try like very early on in companies, and I was like, no way am I putting my reputation there, because, you know, I want to see that it works in a small way, because I'd never seen it a couple of years ago. I didn't even know that much about it. So I think it's important that you work with somebody who actually knows what can go wrong as well within that, you know, within the accounting function. Because, you know, if you're going into a big company, like we're working with a company now, and it's just that the sales order is not matching with the purchase order, it's picking up an historical cost. Now the bot can recognize that and get in without changing this software and spending a lot of money on the software change. The bot can pick up the final price, not the historical price. So that's a big cost saving for a company. But yeah, I think it's got to be. I do see that there'd be a new role within accounting. Accountants working with AI. I think it's a big opportunity for accountants who think, you know, I've done this and now I'd like to. And I think to bridge that gap between the tech guys and the accounting function, I think there's a role that can be created.
So the another post that you put out relatively recently, I think, was talking about the onboarding process, which I think is one of the most important things that an accountant can do. because if it goes wrong, you lose the customer's trust too early, and everything from then is wrecked. So how could you support onboarding of people?
Well, it can be very tailored to, like, the bots will be, the kind of branded in your company brands and everything. It can be very tailored to what your the ethical stance as a company, whatever that may be. You can really tailor the onboarding. And I think what it's also very good at is kind of spotting opportunities, because, like we spoke about before with the data, so there's opportunities in there which this flat data doesn't give you, but the bots are like they're like the little, working behind the scenes, and they're going, oh, you are, have you not seen this? That's how I
think I need them in my life.
It's just like I mean, now as I'm speaking, I'm like, I talk about them as though they're real, but it is like this, this kind of awakening of what, I mean, how many of us have looked at like a set of accounts, and, I usually kind of think, well, this opportunity's gone. You know what I mean? I can't save this guy any tax because it's like 6 months ago, but now, it can do a lot in real time as well, which I think is really important. I don't think, we've got real time now with Xero and the online packages, but I realize that data, that because we're not able to get to it until perhaps the end of the month, but with the bots you can be getting to it before. So to me it's like alive. It makes your data alive rather than dead.
And talk to me about where this fits in. Like, what kind of companies use this? Like, is a bookkeeper on sole practitioner too small, or does it have to be? What do you need to qualify this?
You do need data, because it works kind of on data. But personally, I'm kind of working with other providers, and I see that there is going to be a need for an accountant that is coming on board, setting up a new practice. They'll want to set up an all singing, all dancing practice. They won't want to have any kind of manual processes. So that's something that I'm looking at the moment. But I think you need to get a real benefit from it, I think you need to be over like 500,000 turnover. I'm not saying that you wouldn't benefit. I think you would. I would definitely have it. Or want it, and it's not expensive. That's the big thing. A bot is not expensive.
Okay, so while we're on the subject of money, what kind of starting point is this?
You can start at about with one bot at about 3,500 to 4,000. So,
and the task that bot achieves is.
You're gonna. I mean, on support costs, people are finding about a 30% reduction in support costs. So it's a very quick ROI on the bots.
I suppose that the support is a major function, because you can quickly get overwhelmed with inquiries, and there's the age-old, well, it takes my accountant like over a week to get back to me, and it should combat that straight away. So these people, and we live in a world of instant gratification, should just be able to retrieve the information they need instantly. So is this bot just live on your website, like a web chat? Is that what it is?
There is an engage piece where, I mean, I think that's where accountants kind of on the marketing. I don't think, I mean, I'm not saying all, but I think a lot of us, it wasn't our kind of strength, the marketing side of the practice. And there is an engage piece on the website which will capture leads for you. So that's a very good one. But you'll have an app where your clients will have their own digital assistant 24/7. So if they've got any questions, then they can ask the digital assistant. And then what it does do, it narrows down. You usually end up with about 25% the queries that we will have to, as humans, answer and get involved in.
And I want to take you off course for a little minute, because something else I've noticed about you, Marie, is that you've got a list of places that I think you're going to go, one of them being Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
When's that happening?
It's actually, I'm going on the 14th of December. I'm going to Peru, and then I'm just gonna, I find that you can get the Peru hop, which is you just up on and off. So I'm going to go like right down the coast. What coast will it be of Peru? I'm going to go down to the bottom to Bolivia, and then I'm going to come back up, and then I'm going to go to Cusco, and then do Machu Picchu. So that's like something that I've been waiting to do since before COVID. So
amazing.
And I'm going to do the camp. I'm going to brave it, and I'm going to, because they say it's the best way of actually, if you do the hike and you do the camp, overnight, and then you come to Machu Picchu, which is like been so excited about it.
So you're living out in Spain at the moment, is that right?
Yeah.
So hence the tan. Whereas me, I'm just sitting here all pasty.
Yeah, I don't sunbathe.
You don't need to. You're out on it all the time, and then you're off on your adventures as well. So this is amazing. This is amazing stuff. So coming back, because I had to get that in, and I had to remember to get that in, so which is why it's then. But coming back to your automation, can you highlight the kind of 3 key reasons why somebody should investigate this? Let's just break it down really easy for people.
Well, the increased efficiency is one. You'll get increased efficiency in your business, and a lot of us are time poor, so that's a real big bonus. I mean, there will be cost savings, obviously, on support costs, but I think the biggest takeaway for me, and because when I started off my practice, I thought, I'm not going to be this reactive accountant. I want to be, because I'd been a management accountant, I wanted to be proactive, and I wanted to give my clients the best. But very quickly, I got bogged down. And I think the big thing that it will give you is focus. So it allows you to focus on the things that, you can kind of say, well, I've got to do the stat stuff. I've got to do the compliance. The things that where you can add value can sometimes be left, and I must admit I was guilty of that because of time. But if you can get that focus back and really be, set yourself apart from other accountants. So
yeah, I think we're in an age where we have to be very precise with our positioning, which is something that I preach all of the time. People often, well, I say people often, a lot of examples of accountants that are on LinkedIn specifically talk about being proactive. I'm a proactive accountant. I'm a forward-thinking accountant, but they haven't necessarily thought about what that means and how they demonstrate that. So in their head, that's what they are, but that's not necessarily how they're living. They're not living up to it. So this might be a good way to demonstrate that value, I think.
Yeah, because it will give you, a lot more focus. And, like I say, I think because of my management account background, because I could see, you can see how you can work. I worked with a lot of businesses, and we grew together, and that was great. It was like we started off as, like, well, we've got no clients, and then, we kind of grew together. But then I put the management accounts in straight away, and like, this is where we can really add some value. But I was still having to do that reactively because the tech wasn't there. So yeah, I think the focus is the biggest takeaway for me.
Yeah, we've definitely come like I say we, like I'm a natural accountant. I'm not, but the industry has come such a long way. Like the technical revolution has been so dramatic and so powerful Now it's about making sure that the technology that we have in place is used effectively to impact the clients. So actually, we're making the world a better place, not just getting overwhelmed in more tech and more tech and more tech and more tech, which I think can be a problem because there's so much to choose from. You know, you can digitize any element of accounting. I mean, the adverts tell you, right? Like, who needs an accountant anymore?
Yeah, but we know that's not.
We know that's not true. We know that's not true, but that's what they'd have you believe. But we need to make sure that the tech that we've put in place has a positive impact on our clients, and that's the thing. That's the thing that's going to keep your practice number one, keep you in the forefront of your clients' minds, and help you get the recommendations and referrals you need in order to grow. Because it's all about serving people and serving people efficiently and effectively.
Yeah, and I do think that as accountants as well, we need to be kind of leaders as well. And if we find something that's good, then obviously if it's great for us, it's going to be great for our clients. So, you know, why many of us are kind of can be client-led. So I think that, you know, to get in there and then be able to give your, you know, I had a message this morning from an accountant and she said exactly that. She said, you know, I want to find out more about it for myself, but I always also want to find out for my clients, which is a great point.
Yeah, definitely. So we're coming to the end of the show, but I have a question for you, Marie. What is the sexiest thing about accountants?
What is the sexiest thing about accountants? We're just great because we offer like so much, you know, to people. We give, you know, we do become like a really, if you get the right relationship with an accountant, you know, I felt like they were more like my friends. I was the agony aunt. I was everything I could be. And they, you know, vice versa. I used to pick things up about them. So, you know, we can be, you know, we are, if you do the job right, if you become a proactive leader as an accountant, then yeah, we really are sexy.
Yeah, you are. Right, that's all we have time for. There was one. My mind went blank then. That's all we've got time for. But if people want to find out more, where can they get hold of you?
LinkedIn is the best place to get hold of me.
Okay, so I'll be dropping links into your LinkedIn. Please connect with Marie. Come and say hello. Ask questions. I'm sure your DMs are always open for questions, aren't they, Marie?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, love it. Love talking to AI.
Fantastic. And the last thing, and I rarely remember to do this, but the last thing is just a little bit of promotion for what I'm up to at the moment. So as of next week, which is the 14th of November, I'll be holding the Accountant Pirate Uprising. Honestly, I really should write stuff down. But we're holding the uprising. It starts at 9:30 on Monday morning, and there are 9 sessions across 3 mornings. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And the uprising is all about the people and human side of running an accountant practice. So we're going to be talking about recruitment, we're going to be talking about retention, we're going to be talking about marketing, and we're making sure that you have the information that you need to be prepared to go into the next phase of being an amazing accountant. So make sure you come and join us. I'll stick links in somewhere. And you can check out what that's all about. So that's my little advert done. Marie, thank you so much for coming on. It's a really interesting topic, and it's not something that's going to go away. It's something that's going to just change constantly. So I suggest that people connect.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much, Kelly.